Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Top 5. Wait, no it's not.
No, it's not.
Seb, we have Skyrim Mods news to actually discuss.
We do, and in fact, we brought the news chicken back. Just
the
for
famous news chicken is hungry for news. And the news is that it's now possible to buy mods via the Steam Workshop.
Yes.
Now this, obviously, when you hear that, you're like, whoa, what does that mean?
It's going to change everything.
It's going to change everything? Well, is it? Well, what we're going to do is we've thought about it a lot independently. We're going to have a discussion about it, nice and quick, but hit all the main facts as well so you know what's going on. And then we also threw out a question on Twitter a few hours ago, and we got a bunch of responses, so we're going to go through them as well. So
Absolutely.
the Top 5 Skyrim Mods community will also be having their say as well. But first off, Seb, let's just kind of rattle through the facts. So what has happened?
Yes. So what's happened is Valve has introduced the ability to sell your mods via the Steam Workshop, starting with Skyrim, and that is the first that they've entered that for a non-Valve property.
Yes.
So other Valve games used to be able to sell mods before, but this is the first time it's been a third party, in this case Bethesda. There are only 18 mods that are actually for sale yet. I believe
might
that's
be
down to 17 now.
We'll come back to that one,
There are a variety of different ways that you can do it. You can set a price, you can set a donation humble bundle style thing. But basically the idea is that as long as the content is yours specifically, and it goes through an approval process, you can theoretically sell your mods.
Which has a whole load of implications, but there's a few more key things to note. So you might be thinking, all right, if I buy a mod on the page, on Steam Workshop, where's the money going? Well, 25% of that goes to the mod creator.
Yes.
Whereas 75% is divided in some way between Valve, obviously for running the platform, and Bethesda because, the code is originally theirs.
Yes.
It's their game.
I've seen some percentages, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
those
some people have said it's like 50%. Sorry, it's like 75 between the two of them, and some people said it's
40
like
is 35.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure, but that's probably not known. I'm sure that's just guesses. But so that's something that seems quite low to me.
Yeah.
But we can maybe come back to that when we actually chat about it.
Well,
but just rattling through more of the
some
key
more
points.
of the facts. Some of the other facts include.
I love facts.
The range in price can be from 17 pence basically per mod. All the way up to one I've seen somebody's filed for £20, although you've put £3.35 there for actual ones that are currently available. Yeah. But somebody tried to has put one in for approval, which adds a new apple to one of the bars.
So it's the first, because obviously you're thinking, if you've not already been aware of this, I'm sure you're thinking, man, there's going to be a whole lot of annoyance and like fighting back against this. And one of the best example I've seen so far is someone who's made a mod just called like another Extra apple. And it puts an extra apple in the Bannered Mare.
It does,
just on the table, and it's like, haven't you always wished there could be this extra apple?
Well, for £20, you can do that. Anyway,
it's hilarious.
That one hasn't been approved yet.
No.
Some more facts include when you sell mods, for example, you are going to get your 25% rev share. Because of the way Valve will pay you for that, they actually won't initiate their first bank transfer until you have $100 worth to bank, and that's $100 including this sort of 25%. So actually, it's $400.
You have to sell $400 worth of content.
And that's because they've got bank transfer costs to consider and all those kind of things and fees, whatnot. So that's their justification for it. And so until you sell $400 worth, you actually won't get a penny. Anyone can do this as long as the content is yours. Like we said, there are no restrictions.
Which seems good. Like, it's very open. The only restrictions exist are the ones that were there anyway. So,
so
on the Steam Workshop, no adult content, things like that.
And no licensed content. So when you try and recreate something using assets from another game,
like the time someone made a Sonic the Hedgehog mod, and then we showed it on the show, and then it got pulled down the next day.
Pulled down.
Whoops.
So,
sorry about that.
Well, it's okay. We've actually broken that rule many times, it's okay. The final part is as well, if you do buy a mod and you find it's broken or something like that, or it's not working in the way you were promised, you have 24 hours to file a refund request as well. And beyond that, if something, this just going on from that, if something breaks, if you say had a mod and it worked, but then something goes wrong, it breaks, but it's that 24-hour time window has passed, the discrepancy is between you and the mod creator. Valve and Bethesda are like, ain't our problem.
Yeah, it's like, you guys hash it out now. So, I mean, it seems like there's a whole load of potential pitfalls in here. I think there's also some benefits which can be hard to maybe see because the initial reaction to anything that's free, right? It's initially free, and there's such a wonderful community around Skyrim Mods. That's why we absolutely love doing this show, is because the community is the best. I would say it's the best in video games that I've ever come across.
Best in video games.
Everyone's just so pleasant. Everyone works together, and everyone, like, they'll make a great mod, and they'll be like, sure, you can include my mod in your mod, and then all these mods are all overlaid and involve bits from other people's. It's like one big community making. I'm really passionate about this.
I can tell you get really into it.
And look how great it is. There's Kevin. He's just spinning around.
Well, you can't see that yet. Oh,
yeah, you can see it. I cut to Kevin a while ago.
Oh, wow. Okay,
yeah. Why would you not?
Okay, well, we should drive him.
Okay, I'll drive Kevin around.
People must be getting sick with him.
I was making an impassioned speech, Seb.
Well, that's why I needed to interrupt it. Anyway, so given all those facts, we wanted to rattle through what that could mean for Skyrim, what it could mean for the modding community, what it could mean for really anything. So I guess the first thing is this good for the community? Is going to be the question I think a lot of people are wondering.
And it's a biggie. It's hard to say. But Seb, what are your thoughts?
So I think instead of looking at the community of people who use mods, I want to start with the people who make the mods.
Okay.
I mean, this is difficult for us to comment on, I suppose, because we've actually never made a mod ourselves, but we have featured over the years of making Top 5 Skyrim Mods of the Week a lot of mods, some of them quite small and some of them vast, like epic in their scope. I suppose probably the biggest one was Falskar when we played that over Christmas.
I think the smallest one was the one that removes the mouse when you alt-tab out the game. But what a mod that was!
What a mod. I think the thing to consider is why people start modding in the first place. And I mean, the guy who created Falskar said, I want to create this epic mod and I'm going to use it as leverage to get myself a sweet job in the games industry. And by the way, it totally worked.
Yeah.
I suppose what you could say is when these people come together, they do it because they're passionate about it. But when they create something so vast, so epic, that's like required so much of their time, so much of their skill, to now have an avenue to be financially rewarded for that, I think is totally cool. Like,
yes.
And if you offset the value of that mod, Falskar, against, say, Hearthfire's.
You mean? Oh yes, you do mean Hearthfire. I almost called it Hearthstone.
Yeah, it's not Hearthstone.
Sorry.
You will start to realize that maybe the value is actually there. And I don't know. What if they charged £2 or $5 for Falskar versus the cost of the different DLC packs we've had, the official DLCs packs we've had from Bethesda?
Yeah.
I think the value kind of speaks for itself.
It's going to be one of those things, right? The value will be there. The good side of this, which I think we're putting across first, is that it will enable people who put loads of time into a Skyrim mod like Falskar to reap some tangible benefit other than hopefully getting hired by Bungie, which is what happened to that chap. But I mean, for example, if you look at the number of downloads on the really popular mods on the Nexus, you're talking like 5, 6, 8 million downloads. Well, now, I'm not saying all of those would have happened if the thing cost 50 cents, but for some of the best mods, I reckon it would. So even 25% of that eventual revenue is a butt ton of money. So you could see people making just some incredible stuff, and not already people do make incredible stuff, but even a few other levels. So it could support people who really want to go big and keep Skyrim alive for longer. Actually, this could result in Skyrim living for longer, I think, in some ways. But that said, there is a whole big minefield here. I mean, one of the breaking news that happened just a few hours ago, in fact, one of the mods that had been put up was actually taken down, and it was which mod was it again, Seb?
So it was the fishing mod.
I forget
by
the name.
Chesko.
Oh, by Chesko, that's it. Yes.
So I think it's actually just called Chesko's fishing mod. Now the thing is, Chesko's mod actually on its own stands alone and works fine, but the version that he'd uploaded, actually featured 4's new idols as well as a mod built within it, and hadn't requested use from 4, who created that mod in the first place. 4 was like, nah, this is not what I stand for. In fact, his quote was, he's not asked for permission, and making money with mods is totally against my attitude. It's the end of a working and inventive modding community, which I think is probably, it's the end of a working and inventive modding community I don't quite agree with, personally.
No.
Calling paid, the option for paid mods the end, I don't agree, because you don't have to do it. You still have you still have the Nexus. You have ModDB. You have
Lover's Lab.
Lover's Lab.
Oh, great.
Plus all the ones, there are plenty of modders out there who have said, like, I'm not going to charge. I will never charge.
Yeah.
And there've been ways that you could charge for mods in the past if that was something you were interested
in. You could donate.
In.
There's people who've put their mods on Patreon. Like there's loads of different ways. I mean, the way I think about it, if you're getting really disheartened about the fact that
by the way, that mod was pulled down, the fishing mod.
Yes, we should say it was pulled down. Actually, before I go off on this other thing, what I was going to say about that is that we don't know the full ins and outs. There might be like Chesko left a comment which has been removed, which indicated that maybe there was reasons he wasn't able to reach out to check on using other people's bits in his mod, and that the mod would have worked anyway. So it's a complicated story. So let's not all jump at him. I mean, I think he's in an unfortunate position. Maybe, who knows? I mean, hopefully we'll get the full story.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, if you're feeling like down that this might mean that all mods now. I mean, you look at Skyrim here; it's beautiful, and we've modded this a lot with some bushy trees there. That's a mod, and the water's definitely affected. I forget which water mod we've got on. It's pure waters.
That's realistic water too.
Realistic water too, and it looks great. We're not going to lose all these free mods, in my opinion, because if you look at any other type of content out there, be it even games or podcasts or music, I mean, whenever there's always a paid way of making money off content like this, but there's also always free ways. And because there's some sound.
I should have added some.
Sorry,
some game sound.
The mud crab's interrupting my point.
Yeah,
I think we.
Damn it, crab!
I got him.
He got his soul.
And I
as well.
captured his soul.
That'll learn him.
I just think there will always be lots of free mods for people to use.
Yeah.
And what I hope is, and I'm aware we're both terrible optimists, but our hope is that this will just facilitate more big mods that require voice actors. You might get paid for it. Really great voice actors. Yeah. New animations that are made that are really fantastic. Like, this now becomes more of an option, maybe.
You are getting arrowed from over there.
I'm fine. My big thing is I can make a point and shoot. My big issue is at the moment is the revenue share that the mod creators seem to be getting. And 25, get him, Kevin.
Go on.
Really
go
mark
on.
my point.
Whoa,
where'd he go?
Why is he up there? Epic dodge.
That was amazing.
What on earth?
He leapt over my points. I'm going to see now Bethesda controlling him because they probably didn't like what I was about to say.
But I do like the idea of what you were saying, which was that we could see bigger mods with investment sort of behind them, based on the idea that people will pay to use them afterwards. Which
what is going on?
I don't even know.
But I guess what I was saying was 25% seems like it's too low. I would like to see
I agree with.
I would like to see mod creators in this model get half. Like, I think that's fair.
I completely
I
agree with you.
understand. Bethesda and Steam need to take Valve need to take a cut from this, because Valve are providing the platform. They're doing all the difficult behind-the-scenes stuff, and it's Bethesda's game. I mean, Bethesda have been wonderful over the past years for giving people the code afterwards to do what they want, and that's why we have all these great mods, and that is like a great thing. I'd rather they included this way of paying for mods and taking a cut. I mean, they're basically trying to find a way to make money from it. I'd much rather they did that than stop giving the code, right? That's another good thing.
I completely agree. It'd be really nice if you could get some more really heartwarming stories of the bedroom coder who made a small fortune out of just having a really great idea. Yeah. And I find all those stories really inspiring, because they're
Absolutely.
They're good for us. They're good, not just like the modding community, but the gaming community, when these kind of things happen.
The bizarre thing about Skyrim is the most popular mods can sometimes be like HD flower replacer. I love the idea of this kid who she spends hours reconstructing flowers, or he does, and then they sell them on this mod and it goes kind of weirdly viral and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. So it does open up this scope.
So we do have some other questions that people have asked, and some concerns that are worth addressing regarding whether or not things are going to change for your current setup. So, for example, we understand at the moment, because it's still within the first 24 hours this is all being implemented, if you have subscribed to a mod that is now being listed as paid. So an example we've got is Wet and Cold, the mod that gives you cloaks and hoods and backpacks when you're and dripping and frost breath, all that kind of stuff. That is now available as a paid mod. Thing is, we subscribed to it a long time ago. That download is with us. We can keep it.
Yeah.
And I think the mod that's been re-uploaded to purchase is an alternative mod. It's changed. It's adjusted. It's not the same thing.
It's like Wet and Cold 2.0. I think is the way they're wanting us to think about it.
So unless we delete our mod, it's going to stay there.
Yes.
So we've still got that. So that's one concern people have got. We, as Cam said, we threw a bunch of questions out, to Twitter, and a lot came back. The first was Jeremy Martin, who asked, will this cause less mods to be free anymore?
So will we see less free mods?
Yeah.
I think we will see a few less free mods, but I don't think we'll see that many. I saw someone on defending the position. I forget, it was in the comments. I think it was one of the mod creators of one of these pay-for mods was saying, this is something that you wouldn't have got, I wouldn't have made otherwise. So this is like a bonus. And I don't really buy that line of thinking because, I wish this person luck and I hope the mod does well. Like, people were making mods already, and I don't think that's a good argument. I think there's ways to argue why this could be good. I don't think that's one of them.
Yeah.
We will get less free mods, but we will still get lots.
But
there
I think
are loads of mods.
We might get some higher quality mods out of it.
Yes.
As you were saying before, it's impossible to tell yet, but yes, it's possible. It's possible, but I mean, plenty are still going to end up on Nexus, especially the smaller mods, like little simple adjustments. They might just be thrown up for fun, just see how they stick. The next one that we got was from OnniGVX.
Who's
close enough?
Who asked at Ruby Said Go at
Yeah.
Camfraz Rob, what would be an acceptable price you'd pay for a mod? And then brackets, obviously depends on the scale of the mod, but you get it.
I've been wanting to address this one. So
Go on, then.
the one I want to go with is Boris Voronstov's ENB, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I know you don't download it through the Nexus. I know you have to download it through his own website. But would I have paid for the use of an ENB that you can then apply various ENB presets to?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would have paid for it, but like, I would certainly pay at least, I don't know, like if he made one ENB that he was like, right, guys, this is the definitive ENB, or if you buy it, you've also bought all the upgrades. Like, you buy the use of ENB, and then you buy every time I upgrade it, I would pay £10, £15 for that. It's just affected the game so much. That's what I would pay for it. But I mean, that's just me. A mod like Falscar, I don't know, up to a tenner, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean,
maybe
I don't know. See, this is where I'm not sure because I mean, Falscar. Don't get me wrong, it was great, it was huge.
Yeah.
But it was one of these things, like, it was a massive land mass, and there was detail, but the detail in the land mass compared to the detail you get in a piece of Bethesda DLC was not the same.
True.
You know, like, Bethesda are still the kings of this. And I don't think a mod like that is ever going to quite come close. Maybe I'm wrong, and this is no disrespect to the modding community. It's more a case of manpower. You know, like Bethesda have a massive team who build these sections. They start building this DLC when they're building the game.
Also, I'd like to withdraw my £10 statement. I gave that some more thought, and I'm thinking maybe £2 is probably more appropriate.
Yeah.
If you think about what it actually is.
Yeah. So I think any mod that goes over kind of £2-3, so I guess like kind of $3-4, you're asking a lot. You're asking for quite a lot there.
So the next one we've got,
I think.
Yeah, I agree. All right, the next one is from David Gillespie, who says, what are your thoughts on paying for a collaboration / pack of different mods? Also, what are your thoughts on the possibility of pirating?
It's a really great question because, like, we showed off a mod the other day, which was a jewelry kind of mod, and we gave Kevin some beautiful earrings and stuff. And that mod was actually an amalgamation of loads of different mods.
Yeah, it was almost like 14 mods or something like that. Yeah,
like the person who's put that together does not have the right to sell that, in my opinion.
Well, you're right. They don't have the right. But what about, say, a collaboration between two mod authors, and that mod has become hugely successful, and then they can come to an agreement going, all right, well, you get paid, we'll split it in half. I'd be into that.
Well, sure, of course, if it's an agreement and everyone gets paid.
Yeah.
But it does, as soon as you throw money at it, but I think this is the crux of it, right? And this is why, while I am optimistic, I'm also fearful. Is because the Skyrim mods, as I said already, the community is incredible, the creativity out there is fantastic, and everyone works together. As soon as you bring in money, it makes it complicated. I mean, I do worry it will stifle maybe a bit of the, not creativity, but a bit of the working together. What's the word I'm looking for? The collaborative aspects of modding. I'm a little bit worried that might take a hit.
I agree. Well, I mean, it's great that you see people like 4 saying, I want to exist in a modding scene where everything I produce is free.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that it sounds like he's still totally prepared to share his code with anyone who wants it, as long as they're like,
as long as they don't sell their mod.
Yeah, and that's fine. And as I'm sure there are going to be plenty of other people with that attitude too, which is going to be really, really good for us. I quite like the idea of like you pay for a mod and then you almost kind of like subscribe to it, and that mod also like updates and adjustments and stuff. I suppose it's kind of how it would be, but like packs of mods. Say like, all right, I've got my immersive armors and weapons. Oh, all right, here's an example. The Amidian-born series.
Yeah.
Could you buy a discounted Amidian-born everything? The Book of Silence. The whole lot.
Also, what about mods which are just a retexture of like a slight change of a original mod? Like, can you sell that if most of what's in there is already Bethesda's?
Well, if it's the work that you've done, I mean, you can't just simply increase texture resolution.
Yeah, I guess
you would.
And no one would buy it if it was just a tiny change.
Exactly. Anyway, onto the possibility of pirating. Yeah, there's been talk of it already happening. Fortunately, there is a vetting process, so when you put a mod up for sale, it doesn't just immediately appear for sale. So it has to go through approval.
We have no idea what that process is. I mean, it looks like it's held there for a while. I mean, they're going to get a lot of submissions, so I can't imagine it's going to be a manpower thing of people actually looking through it. I reckon it's probably mostly going to be the community who will look in there and say, hey, that mod has a bit from this other person's mod, which is exactly what happened with the fishing mod example, right? So I reckon it's going to be kind of like a self kind of check method among the community. But yeah, it's a good question. That's going to be a big problem. Is potential pirating.
I hope that there won't be enough of a runaway purchase of any mod for that to happen. Like, I think the big mods that get that leverage, like the Sky UIs and the iHUDs and stuff like that, they're so well known that if anyone saw them starting to take off, they'd be like, they'd call it. So if there was any pirating, hopefully it would be done so on such a low scale, especially with this $400 limit before you can even get paid. Hopefully that won't be an issue. Anyway, next one from Danny Blue saying, so you think this will cause companies to start making mods for popular games?
Ooh.
Would that push out the individuals?
I hadn't thought of that. Well, it certainly won't push out the individuals because free mods are still going to be an option. And if you make a great free mod, people are going to use it, right? So I don't think that's going to change. That's interesting, though. I hadn't thought of that.
Would like mini studios or even big studios be like, all right,
I don't think big studios would, because
I'd love to see a big studio make a.
So would I, but they wouldn't.
I mean, Valve made the Space Core mod.
True, yeah, but that was kind of like a piece of publicity for kickstarting the whole Steam Workshop, right? Like Skyrim was a poster child, even if it wasn't the first on there. I can't remember. But yeah, so that was a bit of a separate instance. But like, for example, there's no way I can't see someone like Activision or whatever making a Call of Duty type mod to work in Skyrim. That's not a very good fit. Or a better fit, EA with the Dragon Age stuff for Skyrim.
No, that's way too big.
But I can imagine little developers.
I'm talking about people like maybe CD Projekt Red, you know?
Well, they're a big developer, but possibly they seem to have. I mean, they're giving the DLC for free. They may well see that there's a good opportunity there.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they like license Geralt into?
Well, they're already like a million Geralt mods, but yeah, that would be awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. But the official one, you know, and
I could see them doing that. Yeah, I could see little developers. Like, if you're a little developer and you're trying to launch a game, like making a kick-ass Skyrim mod, putting your new lead character, like when the villager was in Skyrim, like that's obviously Nintendo, but if you were a little developer with a game, putting your lead character in Skyrim who's like crazy could actually be a great piece of publicity.
That's actually not a bad idea, because then what you could do, you've already got the platform and everything, and the install base is massive. So you go like, right, well, we'll create like a mini version of the game that we have in mind as a paid mod, and maybe the money from that mod would finance making its own standalone game.
It's possible. Yeah, you might find things like that
out there as an idea.
So I think that. Have we still got more questions? Yes, we do. Sorry. I was going to wrap up, but let's not wrap up. Let's do one more.
Wrap up with the question.
Okay, so I guess the final question is, how will this affect the show? Which I guess is the minor of the minor of all these questions, because
but
we're only one show. Yeah. But to be honest, I don't think it will affect the show at all. I mean, we decide the mods based on mainly what people ask us to show.
Yep.
And people, I think, will continue to ask us to show
what's
stuff
interesting
and what's interesting. But if something that's costs a couple of bucks comes up and it looks really interesting, then I reckon we wouldn't be averse to.
Well, I mean,
showing off.
we could take the request to the bosses, being like, "Look, can we expense
$2?
No, this $20 apple."
Oh yeah,
in the
I'd
Bandit
love
Mare.
to show off the apple because that's just a wonderful. That's a wonderful protest.
I mean, it's going to look so good. We can toggle free camera, look all around it. Look how it changes
then
the
Kevin
atmosphere.
can eat the apple.
Oh,
That'd
mate.
be- can you imagine? I would
Most
pay to see that.
expensive apple he's ever eaten.
Oh, amazing. So no, it won't really affect the show. So don't worry about that. But the thing, so I guess to wrap up, Seb.
Bring it back to us. Bring it back to us.
So
Cameron.
this is only. Oh, bring it back to us, right? You mean
There we
like?
go.
I think you meant like as in the conversation. You meant literally.
I meant in both.
Bring it back. Okay. So I guess I think my view certainly to sum up is that I wouldn't be too down on it.
Yeah.
I think it has potential to open up an avenue for a few select people. I don't think it's going to be loads of people, but for a few people to actually make a living for a brief period of time, maybe even a long period of time, by making really great mods for games. Because Skyrim's just a start, obviously.
Yeah.
Like Skyrim's a weird one because there's all these mods that are already in place. That'll be less of an issue for Fallout 4 if and when it comes, right? Think about that. There are no mods for that game.
Well,
loads of those mods, initially I imagine will go on the paid site, but then people will make...
game also isn't a real game.
Well, I said if and when it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then come on, you need to use an example of a game that's probably going to come out but hasn't yet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So imagine when you have all the stuff the ones that people are going to put up that cost money. There are also going to be variations on that is still free, I am sure.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, of course there will be, because there are still going to be like hobbyist modders who just throw things together and have no interest in.
But at the same time, I am worried that it might stifle a bit of the collaborative side of the community and that is part of what makes the community great. So I guess it seems like there could be positives, could be negatives. But if you're really against it, like there is a petition to sign if you want.
It only needs 1,000 more signatures. It's on 24,000 of 25,000.
So I would say if you're really against this, I mean, also bear in mind our point of view is just coming from people who enjoy the mods and make a show about it. We are not modders ourselves, so we're probably missing some subtle nuances, points that we've overlooked. If you are a modder and you're watching this, please let us know what they are.
Bear in mind, we did use our voices in a mod once, so should we give permission for that modder to...
Oh God, yeah.
if you want to sell
I'll
one,
pay
you
to
go
use
right
my
ahead.
voice in a mod. But yeah,
I'm not worried. I quite like the idea of a bit of change, see how it might mix up the modding scene. I know a lot of people are worried about it, and I think it's important that a lot of people don't want to jump on it. But I think there's space for both. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Until it's been in place for a while, I guess we're probably not going to know. Yeah. But I mean, the facts are all out there in Steam. If you want to actually just boot up Steam itself, or you can go on their page, you can read it. Like, there's a pretty epic FAQ about what the rules are, how everything's going to stand, refund policies, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in getting into modding now that this is an option, so I encourage you to go and read it, just to really absorb all the information that's out there.
I'm really wishing we hadn't put Kevin Van Noord up as a free mod. Like, if we put him up now, we could make millions.
Oh man. Well, I mean, of course, he's going to be a playable character in the next game.
Of course,
so,
yes.
So
hear that, Bethesda?
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah.
But totally let us know what you think.
Yes.
It's really fun having some actual Skyrim mods news to talk about.
Yeah.
You know when game news comes out and I'm like, I'm relatively well informed, but this holes in my knowledge. I feel like I am actually well informed.
This one we can talk
to
about.
have an opinion about this. This is great.
Good for us.
Yeah, I love it. But I also would love to know your opinion.
Yeah.
And you can let us know just in the comments.
Yes.
Of the video, or of course on Twitter. I'm at CamFrazRob.
I'm at ReadySebbyGo.
And of course you can use our hashtag GSkyrim as always. Don't worry, there'll be a regularly old episode of Top 5 Skyrim Mods of the Week at the usual times. This has been a bonus. Hope you've enjoyed it. And let's see where the discussion goes. And I think the future for the modding community should still be bright regardless.
I think so as well.